Happy Rocktober, y'all. Some may be saying, what'd she say? So, every October, since Ahava was founded in 2009, we've taken the month of October to focus on abundance and prosperity, what we call Rocktober. And we choose a theme and a book. And so this year, the theme is Bountiful Living as we harvest the learning of the year, as we harvest the crops that of those seeds that we have planted into this creative soil. And when many people bring in squash and pumpkins and wonderful things from their garden to share with us, yes? So, Bountiful Harvest. And the book of this month is The Soul of Money by Lynn Twist. Now, this is one of my favorites. There are so many wonderful books on prosperity and abundance and this kind of new thought teaching. And I was listening to the audiobook again this last week, and it's the at least third time that I have read/listened, studied, and participated in her work. I was actually, I think when I was in Chicago one year, she came and I got to meet her and hear her whole story. And what's fun is that you may know Lynn Twist from the late 90s when she started the Hunger Project. And what I remember, one of my first computer going on there, and you could go to the Hunger Project website, and every time you clicked on it, some cents would go towards the Hunger Project. And that was before this whole idea of the internet and click on things for money even was a thing. So she was I think one of the co-founders of the Hunger Project, and also did a lot of the fundraising for them. And the book tells of so many stories of her experience of working for high-end companies, working with the Hunger Project, seeing everything from, the hardest struggling poverty to the wealthiest of wealthiest, and what she learned truly about money, which that reading gave you a little glimpse of. So I highly recommend getting the book, following along with us this month, and check out the class coming up later this month as well. So why do we take a month every year to talk about this? And we do this because money and all that it symbolizes is often one of the last places where we allow spirit to really express itself. It has so many different energies around it, right? And a lot from the religious perspective of money is the root of all evil. Yes, you know it, you've heard it. So money is this thing that then the pendulum often swings, right? And then sometimes in spiritual communities, it's I can't, money is, it's still running in the background, that idea that money is somehow bad or wrong. But really, money is an energy. Money is something that is not real, really, in and of itself. And just like anything, it is the energy in which we engage with it and flow with it. So we're going to look at this all month. And the Soul of Money invites us to look deeper, though, than just our bank accounts, and to recognize that abundance isn't something that we achieve. Instead, it is a consciousness that we embody. It asks us to look and to see that scarcity isn't a financial condition, it's a mindset. So when her work with the Hunger Project, Lynn Twist shares about when she witnessed people that most of the world would label as extremely poor. She found and experienced the most profound generosity, creativity, and connection. Qualities that you would think are born from wealth, but really it is the embodiment of the consciousness of sufficiency. She says sufficiency isn't about the amount, it's an experience, a declaration, a knowing that there is enough and that we are enough. Let's take a pause there and a deep breath. There is enough, and I am enough. Let's say that together. Ready? There is enough, and I am enough. When we get right down to it, it's this enoughness, this not enough, whatever it may be. Not enough time, not enough money, not enough energy, not enough sleep, not enough resources. I'm not enough. This not enoughness is the lie of scarcity that we are here to break free of that idea and to embody the truth of divine abundance, of prosperity as the very essence and nature of life itself, and to shift our perspective so that we can see possibility instead of lack. And it's all intertwined as well with our own self-knowingness and worthiness. Yes? And here's the thing, you're all worthy. You are all inherently worthy. We are worthy, and yet our minds, our egos, our life experiences, the world's messages can shape that narrative such that we can forget that. And we begin to live from a place, perhaps consciously or perhaps way deep down, more unconsciously, of not enoughness, that we somehow are not worthy of, do not deserve. And it's very pervasive and subtle when you really start to look at it. And you start to examine the things that you allow yourself to receive, or the way you feel when you give. Are you open to see that scarcity is a lie? So this truth is radical in a world that constantly whispers or shouts the very opposite. We live on a culture built on the myth of scarcity, a collective belief that there's just not enough to go around. There's not enough for all. Not enough money, time, opportunity, not enough love. How many times have we said, if I could just replicate myself, right? It feels like the constant demands. So this mindset has been woven into the fabric of our society, and it shapes then how we work, how we overwork, how we compete or compare. It fuels consumerism, anxiety, and even conflict and war. Scarcity is more than just an economic idea. It's a deep spiritual wound of our not enoughness, of that empty hole that can never be filled from anything out there. When we live from scarcity, what I like to call, we're living in scare city. Boo! A little Halloween joke there. But it's a constant place of fear, right? We're scaring ourselves. And it's constricting. And from that place, from that consciousness or awareness or mindset, we feel like we have to hoard instead of share. We compare or judge or get jealous of other people's successes instead of celebrating. We grasp instead of trust and let go and open to the flow. We shrink our possibilities down to the size of our own fears. We think that this opportunity or job is the source of all my good, or this person, or this place, right? Those are all limited mindsets. But here's the truth. Kathleen already shared with us this morning from the reading. Scarcity is a lie. It's a false narrative that the world has told us, but we don't have to accept it. We don't have to buy into it. And it only exists if we, as a collective consciousness, believe it exists, and then take actions and do things based on that lie and assumption. It's a story that we've been told and retold until we forget that We are living in an infinitely creative, ever-expanding, generative, abundant universe. Karen Russo is another CSL minister and author of The Money Keys, which was a book we studied a few years ago this month. And she writes, when you act from scarcity, you serve the idea of lack. You organize your decisions to maximize your good while assuming someone else must go without. But fear is a faith issue, not a financial one. So let's let that land. Fear is a faith issue. Our work then is not just to make more money or manifest more stuff, but to deepen our faith in a universe that is always filled with possibility, that is infinite, and that is for us, not against us. There is no power out there working against us except that which we allow into our own mindset through our beliefs. But the universe, when we remember the truth that the universe has our back, our fronts, our sides, our ups, our downs, we can lean into the trust and the flow just like that mighty river that is always flowing. As Ernest Holmes, the founder of the Science of Mind teaching, says, I cannot be deprived of my supply. The trees do not lack for leaves, nor do the flowers fail to bloom. Am I not as important as they? This is my favorite abundant reminder from Science of Mind from Ernest Holmes. And I'm sure I've quoted it every year, if not multiple times. So I'm going to say it one more time because to me it lands. It helps me to remember that I am beloved. I am worthy. I have everything I need because I am here and I exist. So again, he says, I cannot be deprived of my supply. The trees do not lack for leaves, nor do the flowers fail to bloom. Am I not as important as they? Nature was created to have everything it needs to survive and to thrive. Yet when we see in nature there is an imbalance, things get off-kiltered. But the nature of life itself was created with everything it needs. If we don't get in the way with our human minds and egos and kind of mess it all up by thinking this, that, and the other and creating structures and systems that create inequality, right? So the way out of that is to remember our truth and not to play by the rules of those games that don't serve this higher idea. When we truly believe this, our entire relationship with money and time and resources shift. We move from grasping to gratitude, from fear to flow, from how can I get more? I get more, but then now there's something else I need, and now there's something else I need, and this infinite snowball of not enoughness. Money at its core is energy, and it's meant to circulate. Just like the energy in our bodies need to move in order to stay alive. Money must to flow to stay active and present in our experience. When we hold it too tightly, we block that natural flow and rhythm. But when we spend, save, and give mindfully, we participate in that divine circulation of good, of flow. So, how do we begin to shift this mindset that is so pervasive? First, it's through our awareness. This is the first step. Maybe this is a new idea, maybe this is a reminder to notice how the stories of scarcity are showing up right now in your life, in your thoughts, in your relationships, and how you engage with or make decisions based on your time or your money. So start to pay attention. Not to beat yourself up, but just to be aware. Notice if you have thoughts or say stuff like, oh, I can't afford that, or oh, that would be nice, but I can never afford that. I don't have enough time. I'd really like to, but I'm exhausted, or oh, I'll never catch up. Then pause, take a breath. Just witness that thought. Create some space between you and it, and begin to get curious and ask, is that true? And the mind may go into logistical things like, well, yes, there's only so many hours in a day, and I have da-da-da-da-da. Is it true with a capital T, with the essence of life and who you are? So when you breathe, you can separate a little bit from this idea and then remind yourself of the wholeness and the infinite life of the divine that lives in, as, and through you, and then begin to look at this idea, this thought, for what it is. Not real, just a fleeting moment of an old idea, of an old story, of an old paradigm that now can be released when you anchor into the truth and the possibility of the infinite source of life that you are. For me, it's having that thought, noticing it, breathing, and then doing something like looking outside at a tree and seeing how many leaves there are. Reflecting on a moment of abundance or gratitude, turning to something to begin to shift that, right? So that's the second practice. Practices like gratitude, meditation, affirmations, visioning, opening up to the highest possibility for abundance and prosperity in our lives. Giving thanks, not only for the good and the blessings that we have now, but also the abundance that we witness in the world by others, and affirm our oneness. I am that. I am. What if we were to celebrate the good and abundance of others instead of going to the lack and the fear as if it's a piece of pie, and if somebody got this, I now have less? That's an old mindset. But when you think of energy and the ever-expansive growing possibility of life itself, and remember that's who we are, when we see someone else's good, we can celebrate with them. Yes, my friend. And when we meditate on the vastness of the universe, we can raise our vibration from the not enoughness to the infinite enoughness. Visioning, opening up to possibilities of Spirit's highest idea for our life. And third, the final practice, so first we become aware of our thoughts, then we move into some kind of practice around it, some kind of spiritual practice around the idea of abundance. And then the third step is going to be generosity, opening up to that flow. Once you have recognized and felt into the infinite nature of yourself, you know that you have it when you give it. So if you are filled to the brim, overflowing with love and gratitude, and then someone comes into your space, you naturally want to extend that, yes? That's the third step, creating the flow of generosity. Generosity is the antidote to scarcity. Because if you're believing you don't have enough, to break that fear and that belief is to give something. And then you realize you have it because you're giving it. And as you give it, you create a space, a vacuum, a void for the universe to say, ding, 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 ding. They're in the flow. Let's pour some more money there, right? Each time we give our money, our time, our compassion, our love, our prayers, our thoughts, our energy, our gifts, our talents, we send a message to the universe that we trust its flow. We send a message to the universe that we know that we are simply a conduit for spirit to move through us. So we're saying, here, universe, I'm going to share this way. And the universe opens up that flow. I'm going to share this over here. More must come through. I often say, there's more than enough love, right? It's not like, has anyone ever experienced in their life, like, I love and give all my heart to my handful of family and friends, but now I'm at my limit. I cannot meet anyone else that I even possibly could imagine opening my heart to or loving. No, we don't walk in the world that way. We're open always to know, often too, when you're in that vibration of loving and celebrating with your friends and family and just so grateful for all the love in your life. When it rains, it pours, they say, right? It's that kind of idea. So, now, none of this means that we ignore the very real inequities in the world of form, right? In fact, it's quite the opposite. Because when we awaken from scarcity, then we are more able to participate in creating systems rooted in care and justice and sufficiency for all. Got that, right? Like we can't give from an empty vessel. So when we awaken from this idea of scarcity, we are more able to participate in co-creating the world that works for all in the ways that our gifts and talents are here to serve this idea. We act not from guilt or fear, but from love and conviction that there is enough for all, and it begins with us living that truth. So this week I invite you to notice where scarcity shows up in the world, maybe even in billboards or messages and things that you don't necessarily believe, but you notice it, and you can just notice it, be like, oh, there that is, right? That's not the truth, and take those opportunities to affirm the truth. Anywhere you see scarcity in the world, notice it and claim the truth instead. It's just like rewiring the brain. We're rewiring the collective consciousness by infusing it with more thoughts of wholeness and love and generosity and abundance than fear. So notice where scarcity shows up in your world, in your own heart, in your own thoughts, in the stories you tell yourself. And then pause, breathe, and affirm, I release the fear of not enoughness and embrace the truth of infinite possibility. Because there is enough and you are enough. And from that place of sufficiency, Spirit can do magnificent things. Yes? So let's pray it up. Taking that deep breath now. Aligning with, affirming, recognizing right here, right now, the one life, the one presence, the pure, abundant nature of the universe. Knowing that this creativity and this freedom and joy, sufficiency is the very essence of life and is the very essence of who I am. For I am that I am. I am whole. I am free. I am abundant. And as I know this to be true for myself, I know this must absolutely be true for each and every person hearing the sound of my voice. For there is only one divine activity expressing in, as, and through me now, in, as, and through all life. And it is from this place of oneness that I speak this word, that I declare, that I claim abundance expressed, actualized in all of our experiences. I know that I walk mindfully in this world, saying yes only to those ideas and thoughts of pure sufficiency, enoughness, wholeness, abundance, and noticing any old beliefs and lack, doubt, or limitation now fall away, dissolve back to the nothingness from which they came. I know that right here, right now, that these old ideas about money have no power over me now. I stand in the full agency of awareness of my power, of my wholeness, of my worthiness, of my love, of my creativity, and I open to the flow, allowing Spirit, God, to use me in this way, to be a vessel, to be a channel for expressing the infinite nature of life itself in a way that it only can in, as, and through me. So I am so grateful to walk in this world as a generative, generous being, open to the flow, expressing and being that multiplier of good in my life as I choose to wake up, to know the truth, to see the truth, and to trust in that truth of the infinite source of the universe. So with great gratitude for the fulfillment of this prayer, I release this word now into the action of the law that always says, yes, my beloved, it is done, and it is so. And together we say, and so it is.